Roger, copy.
All right, hey everyone. Happy Thursday. We'll get started. So yeah, we've got a great special guest here today. So Tyler is one that we've been working with here for a while, not just on current projects, but we go back. I want to say over maybe 2 years now. Tyler is a former software engineer at NASA who has made the leap into the crypto world. And, we've kind of bounced, back and forth. Tyler was supporting some Moondao initiatives way back, and now leads a project called Miggles, which is an IP token that came from a Coinbase campaign supporting creators. Hopefully I got that part more or less right. But yeah, excited to have Tyler join us here to tell us a little bit about the Mr. Miggles project. There's a lot more than meets the eye with the project. The more I'm learning about how they're approaching these sorts of things, the more I'm kind of in awe of how deep it's gotten over time. And also we'll dive into a bit of what we've been working on with the pyramid on the moon, which is a LifeShip initiative that Moondao and Miggles has worked together on. So really excited to have Tyler here. Tyler, I guess maybe just to kick it off, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself and your background in space, and then also how you got into the crypto side of things?
Hey guys, hey everyone, G Miggles. Thanks Pablo, thanks Ryan. Great to be here. I mean, kind of strange. I feel like last time I was here was probably a few years ago. So great to see some old familiar faces. Congratulations everyone, by the way, that we're actually on the moon right now. It's actually so trippy to see some of these lunar landing shots and realizing that we've actually never seen HD lunar shots in imagery before. When I was actually at NASA, one of the teams that I was on, we built this lunar navigation system. So using like the most up to date HD um, terrain images to create some sort of a Google Moon type simulation where like people later on to be able to identify where they are on the moon and be able to navigate. But the data sets that I was using when I was working on that was actually from like 2008. So uh, and that was like the most up to date back then. But that was still like pretty good, pretty decent. But now the 2025 footage and images that we're seeing are absolutely mind blowing. So that was really crazy. And also, so during the actual landing, I was with my team. We were at an Airbnb up until like 3, 4 a.m. and watching the actual landing. Unfortunately, we're not there to the point where it can be like a live streamed landing, but I'm sure we'll get there soon. But the actual landing was a simulation, and then they uploaded the images later. But the actual like simulation that they were posting on screen was like very similar to the software that I used to work with. So that was all like super trippy to see life go full circle. And now I'm watching some of the software that I helped build being utilized for a lunar landing mission of this cat and bunch of memes that we're setting together in a pyramid on the moon. And so just funny and hilarious to see how life works in these ways. But ultimately just super grateful, very humbled that we're even part of this. So yeah, just wanted to give a shout. Thank you so much, everyone, for being part of this and having the Miggles and Meme World Order crew participate. I think it's truly incredible and remarkable what we've been able to achieve together, but also recognizing that this is just the beginning. That's also super cool because one thing that we're really excited about on the Miggle side is what does this mean for the journey and adventures of Astro Cat? So Miggles as the first Astro Cat, what can we do with this IRL lore now? Um, with a bunch of memes and a bunch of artists together, we're existing on this pyramid on the moon, and just very exciting to see like what other plans may be in store, what kind of lore and memes can evolve from here. So yeah, just great to be here. Thank you all so much for having us. So thanks, Pablo.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess maybe it's also worth lingering a little bit on what we put together with the pyramid and why you guys got involved, and maybe even explaining a little bit about what is this like meme world order that you were able to put together, which is a very interesting development.
Right, for
Um,
sure. Yeah, so my prior to crypto, been fortunate to build some software over at NASA, but then I jumped into crypto professionally. So I've been working in the industry for a few years, and that's how I got connected with Pablo and the MoonDAO, because I was fascinated that there was an actual decentralized space agency working on things related to the moon. So this was probably back in like early 2023 or late 2022 that Pablo and I connected. And then over the years, I ended up transitioning into um, this just existing in the trenches for some time. I ended up coming across Miggles and the lead at the time. So he's currently on a call right now, but his name's Forrest, and we were joking about how funny it would be if we could send Miggles on a rocket. And so that was back in like August, early August. And Forrest joked about it because he saw like pre-vet NASA on my Twitter profile. But then I realized, actually, we might be able to make something like that happen. So that's when I reached out to Pablo and asking, so I know you guys have been sending people on a Blue Origin rocket to low Earth orbit. Would it be possible to send like a Miggles patch or a sticker on a rocket to space with you guys? And I knew that was happening soon. Um, Shout out Dr. Eiman. And so because I knew that was happening soon, I was like wondering if we could get a Miggles patch on this rocket to space with the upcoming launch. But the launch that was happening was like actually very soon. It was like in 2 weeks. So time wise, we were not able to make that happen. And so that was back in August, but we put a pin in it, decided let's revisit this later. There might be something more exciting. And then a few months down the road, Pablo reached out saying, "Hey, there's actually a lunar lander mission, which is going to be in a pyramid." And we thought that's way more exciting. And at the time, we were building this concept called Meme World Order, which is an alliance and coalition of the most organic memes and communities. So people that actually want to utilize this meme excitement, the unification power of memes to bring people together and actually push the meme space forward. This was the goal that we had unified under. And we thought, how cool would it be if we could send Meme World Order to the moon all together? And so that's how this kind of came about, where we wanted to get together some of our closest partners and friends and just kind of make a statement, a note in meme history that we sent our communities to the moon together. And the entire time that we were working on this and building this up, it was just so crazy to recognize that this was really happening, and now it really has. And so we're on the moon now, and what can come from this, we're really just gonna find out together. Myself personally, I'm really excited and about the potential that awaits here, about like what we can do together as like a larger conglomerate of communities, because I know personally that this new age space renaissance, this is just ongoing now. It's going to go on for at least the rest of this decade and perhaps longer, because the current goals of space agencies are they're very driven and very inspired right now. where it's not just about starting a human base on the moon, which is NASA's top goal, but also we're trying to get to Mars. We're trying to start space factories. There's so much innovation happening in the space industry, but this industry is very siloed. I think probably it's only because of Elon and SpaceX Starship launches that some people pay attention to space as a whole. And I think that's because a lot of these topics are inaccessible and unapproachable. They just seem so far away for most people. But to bring into the mix storytelling, meme culture, communities that are excited about how much they can make their beloved characters' IPs more accessible by combining these two different worlds, I think there is actually a lot of good and education that we can provide to make space exploration more approachable and accessible by the mass. So this is an area that I'm personally very looking forward to tackling about how do we utilize the beginning of this lore as Miggles as the Astro Cat with Moondao, with our other meme friends, living in this pyramid on the moon. How can we grow that further? How can we make more space missions more approachable, more fun, and also just like what other lunar missions are out there? I was talking to um, Ben, the founder of Lightship, so our mission organizer for the pyramid, about what else may exist on the horizon, and he shared some really exciting plans that he's still being trying to conjure. So I think us being on the moon, landing together, this is truly just the beginning, guys. And what else may come from this, we're going to find out together. So yeah, great honor and truly humbled to be here. Shout out everyone for being part of this. And I think these are just the kind of things that a lot of people don't know about yet, but later on, as space gets bigger and bigger, and once we actually have people on the moon, this will be just truly amazing memories to commemorate on. So thank you guys so much for having me.
Really, yeah, and yeah, I mean, now we've got that multi-sig where one of the private keys, you literally would have to go to the moon in order to retrieve it, and yeah, I mean, I really think that there's going to be so many different interesting ways that we can leverage that in the future. I mean, we've already had a bunch of contributions from people to help increase that bounty size. And I mean, we had some crazy stuff happening. Like people were launching Solana tokens and claiming to, they gave us like 50% of the supply of a few of these Solana tokens. And we're like, okay, what the hell is this? But anyways, I think it's worth kind of diving into, so in any sort of decentralized space, there's going to be all kinds of people that come into this world for all kinds of reasons, and I remember you saying something that struck me, which is essentially in the coalition that you're building around the meme world order. What you're really trying to do is to find those types of projects that are kind of pushing the space forward, that are doing so ethically, that are trying to build a bit of a kind of counter narrative or counter movement against some of these quote unquote pump and dump meme coin type whatever things. Someone launches a Haktua coin that has a massive insider holdings, and then they dump it on people, and all of that is just terrible. It's not, I don't think it's anything that Moondao wants to get associated with at all. But at the same time, I mean, I strongly believe that there's something really powerful happening in the way that people kind of communicate with one another through these memes, like the things that they represent. I don't know, like the OG Doge meme. That really had such a, I don't know, impact on the internet, and continues to have a massive impact. And I think that there's something really interesting happening there with these memes being able to raise money and then do things in the real world, like donate to charities, and I don't know, I guess like create plushies like Pudgy Penguins did, and then like collectively govern IP together. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening, and so I'm curious, what's your take on that sort of tension between how people maybe use this space and how do you kind of differentiate what you're doing with Mr. Miggles? Because I mean, I know you, I know the team, you guys are amazing, but I really want everyone else to kind of get that sense as well, like that you guys are really, building this for the right reasons here. So
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Pablo. Yeah. So I realized that it would be great for me to share some context on Miggles. So this Miggles cat, guys, it was born when Coinbase released this ad back in July to focus on creator empowerment. We are in this digital age where it's so easy to ignore copyright, not honor intellectual property, but how do you increasingly empower these creators as creative craft becomes more accessible, but also the technology to make that happen becomes almost nearly indistinguishable from what's actually real as AI begins to take over everything? How do we actually honor these creators as tech continues to evolve? So that was this vision and idea that Miggles was born under, that we need to symbolize uh, this significance of empowering creators. So that was this ad and what Miggles was born under. So Miggles was born essentially as like the creator's cat. How do you actually empower creators? And the Miggles meme coin was born from this ad, completely unaffiliated. We actually don't know who the original deployer was. So someone deployed this token, this meme coin, after this Miggles ad, but then dumped the entire supply super early. So they rugged it, quote unquote rugged it, and then like left the entire project in the hands of the community. And the community at that time decided that the project was simply too good with so much potential to just let die. And so there was a community takeover. There was a CTO that was initiated that brought together a group of like highly driven, super ambitious, creative folks from all around the world, from the US, Asia, Europe, that wanted to essentially just build up one of the most epic CTOs that the industry has seen so far. Because if you think back to like what are some of the most epic projects in crypto today, what are the most epic communities? Some of the names that immediately stand out to folks are like Doge, Pudgy Penguins, and a few others like CryptoPunks, a few others. And what all these communities have in commonality is that they are community driven. And that is actually one of the hardest and most important things with creating a truly scalable, sustainable community and movement is that it has to be led by many, not by a single centralized unit. And when it is just a team controlling everything, a small group of people controlling everything, where a lot of the decision making is centralized to a few folks, what we've seen is that they would either just drop out, they would slow rug, and essentially just it wouldn't last. And so we knew early on that we had to do things the right way. We had to do things the slow, organic way that actually truly builds a community that sustains over time, not a quick pump and dump orchestrated exit. Unfortunately, that is the perception and commonality between the vast majority of meme projects today, as many of us have seen over the past few months. And so that's why we knew that the need for something true, something real that focuses on bringing together folks from all backgrounds and all like interests by engaging in epic activations that truly actually push the industry forward and are more than just small price action, short-term price action. That was what was missing, and that was what we knew that we could tap into. And we knew we could tap into this because of the community that we were already forming, the close relationship that we have with Coinbase and Base. So speaking of that, the Miggles team, and purrLabs, we are actually the only ever IP license received from Coinbase. So we have a very strong relationship with the Coinbase team. So Miggles, this IP is actually owned by Coinbase, but we have been given the first direct license to build out this Miggles IP. And this was possible because of the organic growth that we have sustained, that we had built a reputation in the trenches, in base, that we're serious about this. We're legit. We're authentic about building a true movement that is born from this meme super cycle. And so that resonated very strongly with the Coinbase team that we were in touch with. So we are able to get this first ever IP license. And the only ask from Coinbase was actually to use this IP to build out a creator fund. So with the brand activities and partnerships that we're going to be doing with this Miggles IP, they requested that we allocate a certain percent of revenue to this Miggles Creator Fund that is going to be owned and directed by the Miggles team, backed by Coinbase, to truly take empowering creators to the next level and actually manifest what this Miggles was born under. And so that's kind of the story of how this all came about, where Miggles started off as a Coinbase ad to empower creators. And now today, here we are. We have a great collaborative relationship with Coinbase. We're sending things to the moon, and we're building out this creator fund to actualize what it means to empower creators on a global scale. And so that's all. That also ties into what we're doing with Meme World Order, because we just recognize that in order for crypto to gain true adoption, it's we gotta create something that people actually want to be part of, that people think is cool and exciting and fresh, that people want to get involved with and help build furthermore. And so that's the vision that we have with Meme World Order, and just aligning with folks that also understand and align with this vision to just come together and build something that's new, that's fresh, and just something that people genuinely want to be part of. And so all these right now, these missions, these activations that we have in store that we'll continue to explore with Moondao, this all just lines up with how we truly want to embrace adoption.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess like something that resonates a lot with me with what you've been building is essentially like and I see like a counter movement or like the these are really just tools at the end of the day, and the tools require people that put a lot of good intention behind them and set a good example for future projects to come. And so I think that what you guys are building will hopefully kind of give a blueprint for future, memes, future communities that are driving IP forward, to kind of follow in your footsteps. And I'm kind of curious where, so beyond the creator fund, I know that there's like a ton of other like really wild initiatives. I don't know how much of them you can talk about at the moment, but I'm curious if you could like give us some insight into like the roadmap and what you guys are building now. Like what I guess, yeah. There's so much exciting things, and I'm just curious. Like, can you help us? I don't know, get a little bit more insight into the future of Miggles.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I'll happily share some alpha here. So 2025, I think, like, despite what current market is saying, I think is actually a very bullish and exciting year. It's just gonna take some time to like really kick up the notches. But something that we're super aligned on with Coinbase is the actual onboarding portion. How do we actually get people on chain? And it's by providing UX and UI that is like super seamless, super smooth, that is actually a, a- an acceptable replacement to whatever they're doing right now, or something truly even better. And so Coinbase is actually redesigning the entire software app of Coinbase Wallet. So they're going to redesign it from the ground up. And a huge part of this is actually going to involve Farcaster and Warpcast. So actually, everyone here, you guys should really build out a platform and presence on Warpcast, because that's going to be a huge part, play a huge part into the latter half of this year when the Coinbase Wallet is redesigned and they truly push that forward. So how I see it is that where Telegram and X were, Coinbase is going to try to step in with Coinbase Wallet and Farcaster. And so I think that's going to be really interesting to see how that is pushed out in the US. And with this, the activations that we're focused on, so from the Miggles and purrLabs side, we're focused on how do we actually onboard people with this Miggles IP in the form of smart toys, clothes, and other IRL activations. And so we have some major activation partnerships in the works with, and this is just for you guys because this is like very still early alpha, but we have activations in the works with the NBA, the MLB, and Michelin. So these like massive institutions that want to step into Web3, that they want to come on chain, but they're not exactly sure who to work with, how to go about it. So these are the conversations that we're having that we're also discussing with Coinbase. Where what if we could design a Coinbase wallet mass onboarding activation at an NBA game? So these type of activations that truly embrace Web2, people who are outside of crypto culture, to easily spin up a Coinbase wallet and easily be able to engage with Miggles content, with MoonDAO content, our story with the pyramid on the moon. These are the things that are currently in our line of sight and that we're working on. And so as the true like onboarding renaissance emerges, something that I would love to suggest to MoonDAO community is um, keep those things in mind. Like how could MoonDAO leverage Warpcast? What kind of a presence can you build there? And what other missions that we can collaborate on? Because that's something that I truly want to champion is utilizing the story of Miggles on the Moon to engage with more space agencies and support more missions and just celebrate this space renaissance that we're on.
I definitely see Coinbase making some really impactful moves and just like bringing people into the like on-chain ecosystem. So like something that I've noticed that's pretty difficult. I mean, we built a bunch of onboarding stuff here at MoonDAO. Is moving people away from the exchange and then into kind of like this like broader ecosystem. And I think yeah, Base is, as far as I can tell, is really leading the pack in terms of other L2s or yeah, I mean they have direct connection into the biggest U.S. exchange, so they can really make that whole process much more seamless. I'm curious, like going on to like a macro level, um, like what do you foresee as kind of like the landscape moving forward? I mean, like beyond 2025, we'll have like Solana, Base, all the ETH L2s. I'm curious, like, if you were to move where the puck is going, I mean, it seems like Base is a great place to build on top of, but how do you see all of this kind of um, evolving and interacting with one another? Do you see like silos forming between like Solana and Base, or I don't know. I'm curious if you can kind of just like muse a little bit on the sort of tension and competition within the on-chain ecosystem, um, versus like this sort of like collaborative narrative and sort of composability narrative that like a lot of the like open source on-chain movement is kind of built on top of. How do you see that kind of resolving, or what do you see that future looking like?
Yeah, that's also a very good question. And I think that's what we're all looking to find out is how is the dust actually going to settle when it settles? Because we all see that there's like way too many protocols. There's way too many L1s and L2s that more often than not they launch and then they just disappear. The sentiment that myself and the team received when we were at the base event at ETHDenver was that the Coinbase and base team are absolutely just incredible players. Like the synergy that you see at these events is that wow, like base is I'm truly believe that base is going to lead much of global adoption, just because it's not just about the chain, the TPS, and the speed itself. It's just the people, the entrepreneurial minded people that are building on base right now was truly incredible to see. Solana for sure. I think just I mean there's just way too much activity on Solana, but kind of the sentiment that we're seeing out there, especially online and in the trenches, is that Solana is going to be perceived more as like the gambling casino chain, and Base is going to be perceived as where like the true builders, the true um, applications and communities that support adoption are going to emerge. And that sentiment was really reinforced at the Base event. And so I think that's something to keep in mind. But like other than Solana and Base, like I know that Avalanche is doing something incredible, doing some incredible work as well. And now with the U.S. government actually stepping into crypto, like the crypto summit is happening. I think like actually yeah, it's tomorrow. So it's curious to see how things are going to shape out. And I think you can't really plan for all that. And like, I don't know if going multi-chain is like truly the right answer, because I feel like a lot of the liquidity and activity is going to concentrate to like maybe like 5 to 7 protocols at total. And I think Base for sure will be one of them, one of the top leading networks. And so I know with Moondao recently branching over to Base as well, and us having a strong relationship with Base internal, that's definitely something that we want to support and nourish more of, because we've realized that we have strong alignment with everything that Coinbase and Base are doing. So how do we actually build out this culture arm from the Miggles and purrLabs side? How do we actually build out this culture arm that makes crypto and Web3 culture, all these IPs, more approachable, more accessible by the mass, with these large scale IRL activations that also invite more people to participate in this ecosystem? So that's what we're building out. And right now we are quite limited to and exclusive to building on the Base network, because of our partnerships and all. And so that's an invitation to the Moondao community, because I know you guys are building a lot of things besides just Moondao as well, is to invite you to build on Base and reach out to myself and the Miggles team if there are any requests or questions that you have, because we have the right resources, we have the right network to plug you in. And this space lore with AstroCat Miggles is something that we really are excited about and want to build out more of. So anything to do with space, let us know. I Once our press release is out, I'm actually going to send it to NASA and try to get some feedback from them, because I think they'll be really excited to hear that one of their old colleagues is being part of this life ship Pyramid on the Moon mission. So yeah, that's one of my goals personally, is to embellish this space lore, but also from the Miggle side as a whole is to really focus on empowering creators. And creators is a very large term. It's not just digital artists and music producers. It's anyone that has a form of art that expresses themselves. So it's not just artists that we work with. We work with developers, space missions, anything that has to do with creating something new and fresh in the world. We really want to get behind. So guys in here, I know there's a lot of super big brain creative folks. So anything that you guys would love to explore that we can support from the Miggle side, please let me know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Ryan just shared. You were actually the first person in Moondao to onboard using Base. So that was an integration that we added recently through Layer Zero, the ability to onboard via Base, and so that's our first you know, foot being placed in that pond, and I'm excited to build that out further. So I guess back to the space side. Um, Maybe I'm curious, what is your vision for how the on-chain ecosystem can support and further space exploration? So at the moment, Moondao has sent 2 people to space. We now have this bounty to help incentivize future lunar retrieval. I'm curious, what do you think how can, because there's so much excitement, there's so many people that want to get involved in space. It's like one of the most exciting things that's happening right now in our lifetimes. I mean, um, there's an initiative now to plant the American flag on Mars. There's multiple startups that are building lunar landers, rovers, infrastructure for the moon. Um, I'm curious, what like how do you see this all kind of evolving over time? Um, like yeah, in your mind, how can projects like Miggles or any other community plug into um this amazing, I don't know, just I think people here in this room see it, and they can feel that they're we're really on the cusp of a massive renaissance in space. And at the same time, we have these incredible tools that enable sort of peer-to-peer decentralized financial rails that will be required in space. You don't want to use credit cards on the moon. You're going to want to use crypto. So I see a ton of overlap, but yeah, I'm curious, like where do you feel this is all going?
Yeah, that's a really good question as well, Pablo, and something that I'm looking forward to unraveling with you guys, I would say. But some quick line of sight, low hanging fruit activations that I see is, first of all, everyone is what I see is that everyone is fascinated about space because yeah, it's cool, but like I was saying, it's so unaccessible. It's so inapproachable by most people who don't understand what it actually means to go to space. Like, what is this mission? How are we actually part of this mission? What is actually on the moon? And that's why I was suggesting to you guys that we should probably do like a video recorded podcast that talks about the mission, that has some imagery up, that has some of the live stream lunar landing simulations, some shots of the moon to talk about how this came about and where we are. I think just uncovering that, unveiling that information so it's clear, I think that could be like a really strong starting point. Because I was looking at the moon the other night, and it was so trippy to think that wait, our lander is actually right there somewhere. That was like a very surreal moment to recognize that we're literally there and a part of like a digital part of what we've all created and built is on the lunar surface right now. And I think that's maybe I'm too much of a space nerd, but I think that's super cool. And I think the more that info and education is shared with people, I think that could resonate. But ultimately, I think it just comes down to like spreading the word more so because crypto needs, especially like crypto Twitter, really needs like good news, really cool, exciting news that people can rally behind. And I think us doing more crypto things, bridge acting and serving as the bridge between crypto and space could truly galvanize a lot more people, could potentially in the future lead to funding other monuments, other missions. So it's like, okay, we sent this gold pyramid on the moon. What else can we send? What else can we fund? What other commercial payloads can we support? We using crypto rails. I think that's a very interesting thought to have because imagine that we can like get together, get communities together, fund a specific monument that maybe could look something like else, something like we could send like a Miggles statue, or we could send like an actual rocket statue, something, anything that we can align on as a community, as a global crypto community that supports space missions. What else can we do? I think that's something that a lot of people can explore and figure out together, and making other aspects of space more accessible. So the Blue Origin low Earth orbit launches or zero gravity trips, going to a Starship landing site, a launch site. I think organizing more activities that bridge crypto and space together and getting more people educated and realize that space is actually a lot more approachable. It's actually even more accessible with crypto. I think those are some activations that we could all explore together. Because I just know from me personally and my team and my community would absolutely love if we could tell them like, hey, like we're organizing this zero gravity trip, or hey, we're gonna go watch this rocket launch together. I think those are the type of things that people are so outside of people's norm that providing opportunities to get involved in that manner, I think would be really exciting. So that's something that I would definitely would love to explore more with you guys.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be awesome to have you and more of the Miggles team on maybe a future zero gravity flight. And yeah, totally agree that it makes so much sense to have like payloads that are kind of community driven, like Life Ship. I think that Life Ship is just the beginning. I mean, it's so cool that embedded onto this nanofiche are like tons and tons of narratives, tons of communities. It's like very interesting to see that all kind of play out. And yeah, I think that the future of this whole cross section is very bright. Um, but yeah, I guess any other thoughts or things that you want to leave us with? I'm curious, yeah, what were your other reflections on ETHDenver? It was cool to work on this art wall together. Yeah, for those that don't know, we had this like art wall where multiple communities contributed, and it was right at the entrance of ETHDenver. So there's a really cool Miggles exhibition and video, and same with Moondao, and a few other really amazing projects as well. So that's cool that we're kind of starting to build a bigger footprint within the Ethereum ecosystem. And yeah, I think that there's still relatively little awareness, I feel like, about this cross section, but I think that it's only going to get larger and larger over time. So yeah, I'm curious, what were your other takeaways from ETHDenver? What are you excited about, kind of coming back from all of that? I know you spent a lot of time with the base folks and the base wallet, and you've already shared a good deal about that. But yeah, I'm curious, what else like piqued your interest? What else are you kind of running towards at the moment?
Right. It's also a really good question, Pablo. And so yeah, East Denver was cool. This was my third East Denver, and something that I've actually been recognizing a lot in recent conferences, because I was in Asia for 4 months before Denver. I'm finally back home now for a little bit, but something that you recognize at conferences nowadays and just the industry as a whole is that we all know that it's clear that everyone knows that 95% of these infra protocols nobody's going to use. And when you attend some of these panels and people are talking so much in theory, oh, this is how it could work, this is how it will work, but there's such a strong disconnect that I felt from what actually works right now when you're practicing in actual user onboarding and adoption. And so there's so much discussion on ZK, security, and interoperability, but it really just brings to the question, what are people actually using though? And I think that's also a large point to why the meme supercycle has like kind of blown up this past year, is because people realize that they don't want to bank on these hyped infrastructure protocol launches, but rather be part of communities where they truly feel like they're building something together and they are part of a co-incentivized. um, I guess how I would say is that a huge part of crypto culture is people coming together because they believe that they can make money together. And I think people are waking up to that realization where it's not the strongly backed VC protocols where that happens, because everyone has seen that no, those you just get dumped on, because and these exchange listings are super predatory. I mean, I could go on for hours on the nightmares that we've dealt with from the Miggle side with some of these exchanges, but that realization has seeped into the vast majority of crypto participants, and why I think these meme communities, these more grassroots communities, have become a lot more popular and a lot more active, is because people realize that ultimately what makes crypto special is feeling like you're early to something and you can build something truly real and that gains adoption. And I think that's why we've been able to build so much on the Miggle side, is because people want to be part of something that's legit, people something that they know that's not going to rug and that actually has true prospect and potential. And that's something that I really felt in Denver, is this disconnect of these protocols and projects talking about so much in theory, but actually lacks real life participation and gaining users and adoption. And from our side of approaching these events of truly just trying to get the word out, because we have a very excited, strong community. We are building new points of accessibility and adoption with smart toys, with games, with fashion. So seeing that disconnect, but also now recognizing much more clearly who's truly building for user adoption and who's trying to just build from 0 to 1 and try to get some additional funding. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's like it becomes a lot more clear nowadays in the industry. And I think that's also why I'm more excited and bullish on communities and teams that are truly doing something real that you can actually see IRL effects of. So for everything in regards to our space mission, literally everyone that I talked to was so excited about it. People thought that that's super cool. Like how more people need to know about this. But and because of that, I think we just need to do more things to get the word out. So a lot more core marketing, co-events, just co-education, which is why I think like just a video podcast talking about the mission would be super powerful. And then getting the word out to more global space agencies that want to get their word out, want to celebrate their missions, celebrate their activations. Because one of the things that I heard from the Firefly team, or just what that was relayed, was that this mission that we're part of was from Firefly and Blue Ghost. We want that to be known. We don't want this to be muddied and overshadowed later on that it's just um, a a regular random rocket. They want to instill that this is a Firefly mission. And that said, I think from the Miggle side, from Doge, from Pudgy, all the communities that we were part of, getting everyone together to make these topics more approachable, let people know that yes, we are living in this crazy warp zone on-chain matrix world, but there's actually truly incredible things that are happening with space travel, and that we are actually part of this. Yeah, I just think we just need to get the word out more. And if we could, one of the things that I'd love to see is like for us to create some sort of an animated series. I mean, the tools are out there now. We just got to find the right people that are aligned with this vision. But if we could make like an animated series of Meme World Order living inside a pyramid on the moon, and then as more lunar missions happen, these all tie into this animated series to talk about the first lunar rover that's going to launch later this year, and then when a human base actually starts to get made. I mean, the IRL content is already there. It's just about weaving these in together and crafting a message that's a lot more fun and exciting. So I truly believe these stones are all set for us. We just got to put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah, a lot of what you said resonates with me, and I also want to give a quick shout out to the Elon RWA team that put together that awesome video of all of us on the surface of the moon, hacking into the pyramid, and all that stuff. I think is really valuable in just, I don't know, communicating like what's going on here, because it really doesn't click until you see it in that sort of like narrative format. Like, wow, all of these different groups have been able to come together using these on-chain tools in order to fund this mission and make this all possible. And then the other thing that I kind of want to linger on a little bit more too is, yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like we're still stuck in a bit of this like mindset that the space is dominated by these like centralized exchanges, and that these VC-backed protocols are they definitely have ample funding to like make a lot of noise, but truly, if these tools work, it's all going to be about the decentralized exchanges. It's all going to be about individuals coming together and using these tools to coordinate their own things. And I think that that's like a subversive kind of narrative under all of this. Is like, you walk through ETHDenver, and there are all these like, yeah, like you said, like infrastructure protocols that have the biggest booths and whatever. But then on the ground at the side events, when you're talking to people, there's like so much going on under the hood that I think people are just not aware of at the moment. And we're just getting to kind of the point where the UX, the onboarding, all of this stuff is becoming a lot easier, a lot more seamless, and it doesn't require a PhD to navigate this stuff. And I think that we're at this kind of tipping point right now in this whole ecosystem where all of that is, I think, going to become much more dominant versus the kind of like, oh, let's list this token on a centralized exchange and then have, whatever horrible event happen afterwards. We have our own stories on that front too. But anyways, yeah, I want to thank you again for just coming in and sharing a bit about the Miggles project, and I think it's also awesome that you can kind of share a little bit about your own background and how you're able to like tie all these like your past through NASA and this new crypto on chain world. And it's fun to have more people that are existing and operating in this kind of niche intersection that I think is going to be huge very soon. So anyways, yeah, I want to thank you again for joining us. And yeah, anything else that you want to leave us with?
Not much, but I see quite a lot of people have tuned in, especially on Twitter. So I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that's being part of this. Ultimately, um, we truly are building something epic and special together. It's one of the stories that I'm just really excited to see come to life. Everyone on the team, we truly are. We believe that we're part of something bigger than ourselves, and we are seeing this manifest every day as we connect with more partners that are aligned with this idea of how do we actually gain true adoption. And it's not by orchestrating these extractive mechanisms, it's just about creating a culture and a movement that people genuinely want to be part of, because it's something that is fresh, it's extraordinary, it's something outside of the norm. And that has been our mindset and North Star from day one about how do we continue to push the envelope with this Miggles brand. And Moondao joining part of the mission has been a huge, huge catalyst to this. It has opened this entirely new world of Astrocat Miggles that is just beginning now. And I'm genuinely so honored and excited to see what kind of lore, what kind of missions that we can uncover together. So big shout out to everyone involved. Please do check out the Miggles community and brand. You can find us on Twitter at Mr. Miggles on Base. You can connect with me on Twitter at Tylerocket. And the sky's the limit. I mean, we know sky is not the limit anymore. We are beyond the sky. So the galaxy is the limit now. So thank you all so much, and we're really excited and grateful to just venture the stars together. So let's keep cooking.
Awesome, Tyler. Cool. All right. Well, now we're going to transition into project updates. Tyler, feel free to hang out and listen in. Basically, what we do now is we go through all of the different initiatives that MoonDAO is currently cultivating, and have each of the project leaders share a little bit of updates on what's been going on within the MoonDAO ecosystem. So yeah, thanks again, Tyler, and I'll kick it over to you, Ryan, to get us started here on the project updates.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Pablo. Very cool stuff. Super wild to think that, we're on the moon, and so great to have the Miggles community along for the ride on this one. Pretty epic. But yeah, we'll kick it off with some roundtable project updates. I don't know if who wants to come up here first? Eiman or Bob? Hey, Bob.
Hey,
How's it going?
how's
Yeah,
it
kick it
going?
off.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So world's biggest analog. We've had some good development. I think we have the review committee set. It's a good mix of senators, community members. We've even got some of our the youth cohort and young adults in there. So I think it's a good mix of community members. So thanks to all who volunteered. I also this week had a meeting with Jazz at WBA, who also runs the Analog Astronaut Conference. And she was able to give me a timeline update. So it looks like the first official invitations from the habitats to the analog astronauts will be in mid-April, something like the 11th of April. So I agreed with her that opening the applications now doesn't make any sense. And so we will wait until the final selections go out before opening the application to the candidates. We've been reviewing the application internal on the committee, and I think everyone's pretty happy with it. There'll probably be some tweaks, like a link for registration to the Space Acceleration Network and things like that. I think we've pretty much set the criteria that we want to review. Everyone's been good at reviewing it and providing comments, so thanks to the committee for all your hard work. We're just going to keep coordinating in the coming, I don't know, month until we release the application, month and a half. Just kind of coordinating with WBA at their level, just so that we can sort of get the fund distribution plan and everything like that in place before we get it out, so we can get the money to the candidates as soon as possible. So that's where we are. We're kind of in a bit of a pre-work administrivia holding pattern until we actually open the applications. And I will give you guys more detail update when that starts to happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. Eiman, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Not much to update yet. I sent some more footage over to Kevin for the documentary piece, and waiting hopefully to get something from them soon. I know that they're working on it. They were going to add a couple more items and go from there.
Cool. Thanks, Eiman. Bill?
Hey all. We've got some progress on the space-time card. The carrier board that the students designed has been submitted for purchasing. I have some concerns over the availability of some of the parts. Right now, just speculative. They are in stock and marked as available right now. And so I checked in with RIT and the team and pretty much all the way up the chain for what I have control over, and made sure that we're expediting the process to get our PCB and our electronics purchased as fast as the supply chain allows. That said, everything's out for order. Should be around a week or two until it comes back. In the meantime, there's more work to do in the simulations and using the clock on the manufacturer's breakout board that's been provided. As far as deliverables go, there is a demo video, poster, and white paper in the works. The deadline's being driven by an event at RIT on April 26th, where the project will be one among many, featured by the university in an event open to the public, kind of like a festival / open house / science fair type of event called Imagine RIT that happens every year. Everyone's very excited for that. And lastly, I met with the students in person earlier this week. We talked with the team and some advisors about the 30 nanoseconds requirement in the precision. Early on, the team communicated that 30 nanosecond goal with holdover of like days to weeks was unattainable, like even in the ideal case, irrespective of any implementation. And so I asked about that, and we had some discussions over like, how could we have formulated the requirement differently, or what's going on here. Long story short, what I've asked for from the team is some comments on this requirement, whether or not it's realistic or not, but more characterization of the performance, and to say, well, this situation it wouldn't be good enough, but in this other situation it would. For example, if we restrict the period of time where we say like we don't want it to deviate from 30 nanoseconds of precision, if we restrict the time to like a couple hours, which is on the order of one orbital period of the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, for example, we're actually in the sweet spot for potentially meeting this requirement. So long story short, one of the objectives here was poorly formulated in terms of like we didn't really fully understand the problem. And we'll have some discussion about that requirement, what we can do, what we should have asked for, and stuff in the report that comes out of this. Everything's on track. We're ahead of schedule. Everything's under budget. So yeah, crushing it.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. Pablo, updates on Launchpad and the token project?
Yeah. So on the Launchpad end, we had a bunch of great discussions with the Juicebox team, IRL in Denver. Got to hang out and kind of just discuss how we want to structure the Launchpad from a kind of economic standpoint, and reach some. There's a lot of interesting kind of mechanics that we're going to kind of craft that's specific to this Moondao Launchpad. All things that we think are achievable on the timeline that we have, but will require a little bit of dev work from a couple folks at Juicebox. But yeah, we're excited. A lot of the UI and kind of the landing page for the launch pad is mostly there. Now we're kind of really in the weeds of kind of structuring the dynamics of the token raises. So yeah, that's exciting, and it's great to have support from the Juicebox team to help us put this together. I think it's going to be really just awesome to be able to distill down the Juicebox protocol into just a couple variables that people can put in, and we can hide a lot of the wires and sort of complexity, and just try to get something that's feels straightforward, simple, that we can communicate very directly and have people wrap their heads around quickly. So yeah, that's exciting. On the Treasury front, there's still some movement. So I guess right now there's a transaction queued for the airdrop, so that should be hitting your guys's notifications here soon, so you can withdraw the airdrop, which will be great. And then yeah, Jade's been doing some great work configuring the Uniswap v4 hooks such that essentially the AMM fees can be routed to vMooney stakers. So yeah, I think that's going to be an awesome development to add that extra functionality to stakers beyond just governance. And yeah, I'm really excited to get that live here soon. Yeah, that's it on my end.
Awesome. Thanks, Pablo. Yeah, looks like that's it for Roundtable project updates this week. We're over the hour here. Yeah,
I guess
Pablo?
Ryan, do you wanna maybe give us some updates on the Mooney to the Moon? There's been a lot of development there. People have probably seen some of it on social media already, but yeah,
Yeah.
Ryan's been doing some work with that and helping coordinate a lot of that stuff. So
Sure, yeah, I kind of glossed over that because you guys were talking about it a bit earlier. But yeah, obviously we have the payload on the moon earlier this week with the wallet aboard the Golden Pyramid, which is super cool. We've got the two multi-chain, multi-signature wallets that I shared a little bit earlier. I shared the links to both the Solana multi-sig wallet, which is controlled by some of the other communities, the Pudgy Penguins and I think Mumu was it. And then the Ethereum wallet. I think across the chain, there's a few grand people are sending tokens. There's some Solana that's been sent to the one wallet, some ETH that's been sent to the other wallet. So definitely check those out. Yeah, and we had the art wall and stuff, which is all super cool. But we'll be sharing more here about the Mooney to the Moon project. Yeah, super cool. Also, I guess just in space related news, obviously Intuitive Machines had their landing attempt today. It looks like they're on the moon, but kind of in an uncertain state. So kind of following that. And we've also got the next Starship flight test coming up here in a couple hours. So it might be a good chance for folks to get together in the Major Tom channel and watch that launch live in about 2 hours if if anyone wants to do that, I'll probably be around for that. We were there a month and a half ago for the in-person launch, which was amazing. A crew of us from Moondao, but so not quite the same watching it on the live stream, but should be fun anyways. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us this week, and we'll see you again next week, same time, same place.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Bye, all.
Bye.
Welcome to Moondao, a revolutionary governance model and mission-oriented community that's reshaping collaboration in the space industry. Our mission is to create a self-sustaining, self-governing settlement on the moon to act as a launch point into the cosmos. Moondao is governed like a nation, with its own economy, constitution, voting system, treasury, elections, and senate, but internet native, and so without the limitations of geography. In 2022, we sent our first member to space, showcasing our model's capacity for real-world impact. Now, we're implementing key solutions for global collaboration in the space industry. We offer a borderless, permissionless platform that enables everyday people to participate in the future of space development and exploration. Be part of our lunar legacy and join the Moondao movement today.